So thanks for coming out and talking with us. We're live with Color Change, and we have radio. Can you tell us a little? So first, introduce yourself and just tell the viewing audience why you're out here today.
My name is Ray Lewis. I am a retired Philadelphia police captain. And I'm out here today because I want to show solidarity with the residents of Ferguson, the black residents, because they have lived lives of oppression, discrimination, exploitation. They know it very well. And now they have thrown at them a possible murder of one of their citizens by their own police department, which is supposed to protect them. And then on top of that, you may have a police chief that's trying to whitewash it. And when I read all about that, I said I have to come down and show solidarity and support these people in Ferguson.
So, and what have you seen in terms of not policing that's not up to the professionalism and the courtesy that I'm sure you held the standard to when you were in law enforcement?
This is a total atrocity, the way the police are handling this. It's a total embarrassment for me to even be a police officer when others see what these police officers are like. I saw a military, one of those armed personnel carriers, two of them go through the street. That's not a slap in the face to these people, it's a punch in the face. How dare you bring in this type of equipment when you're running a peaceful protest? That's outrageous to me. And I saw officers without their name tags. This is just unbelievable. An officer without a name tag, that's discipline. What I mean is that officer needs to be disciplined, formally suspended. You never go out without identifying yourself. So there's a whole bunch of things. The way they're using force, the way they took two journalists out of McDonald's illegally to keep the news from seeing what they were doing, the way they had a no-fly zone up here so the news media could not record what they were doing, the way they herded journalists into a cattle pen far from the action so the way they couldn't see what they were doing. They're completely silencing the media, and this is after the incident. You think they'd be in good behavior. You know, after that incident, you think, oh boy, that we got international news here, let's be in good behavior. They don't care. They're doing anything they want, just as they did before.
And we see like a massive disconnect between what law enforcement officials are saying is happening and what's actually happening. Sometimes in real time, you know, a higher level officer could be saying, "Oh, we're not doing this. We're a half a block down. It actually is happening." The type of abuse and violations. Um, Talk about that disconnect between the rhetoric and the reality.
It's just blatant lying, and it blows my mind. I've never seen anything like it. Well, I did in Occupy New York Police. They did the same thing. But in my career, there was never such outright lying. It's like they just can get away with so much now. They're never held accountable that they can do it.
But is it a tactic that you think they deploy because it's effective? Like, my guess is that a lot of that is conscious. It's intentional.
Well, it's CYA. They're covering their asses. It's not a.
That's the protocol.
Yeah, it's not a tactic at all. The tactic is CYA.
Right. And so it also sounds like that behavior, the militarization, the tanks, heavy equipment, the abuse, all of it seems to be rewarded and incentivized. And
rewarded and what?
Incentivized. Otherwise, I would imagine wouldn't happen. So, talk a little bit about how that happens. How is it that bad police behavior is so incentivized and good police behavior seems to be punished?
That's an excellent question, and I don't have the answer to that. I wish I knew, but I'm not going to give you an answer to that because I don't know.
Right, and because some of it could be
It's
funding. Because like I would imagine this operation costs a fair amount.
Very much, very much.
And do officers, do rank and file officers, actually learn the skills to interact with the public effectively?
No, they don't learn the skills, but it's you don't need to learn skills to interact with the public. Anybody, you know how to interact with the public effectively. Everybody here knows how to interact with the public effectively, honestly. So you don't have to learn that. It's just a natural thing. Go ahead.
So can federal intervention clean up some of this mess, and how?
Well, unfortunately, you'd have to have federal intervention all across the country because there are thousands of Fergusons.
And what do you mean by that?
There's 1,000 cities and towns where police are getting away with everything they did here, but they're just not hasn't been brought to the media's attention as blatantly as this has been.
Sounds like that's part of what you're doing for people is showing a real life example of that we can have a new path. You talk about how you think about the new vision, new imagination we have to have in this country around how police treat people and how we're policed as a people.
Well, I don't want to burst anybody's bubble, but it's going to get a lot worse.
How so do you think?
The militarized police. There's going to be the situation in this country is going to get really bad. More people are going to be economically, you're going to have terrible times, and you're going to see organizations pop up that are looking for the only way out is violence, and it's going to get ugly.
And how should people prepare for this?
I don't have an answer. It's going to get that ugly that I don't have an answer to. Well, if you do this or that, you won't have to worry about it.
And the good news is like you don't have to have the answer because it's something that we create in places like this.
I hope so. More power to you.
Really appreciate you coming on, becoming a change, and thanks for being out here.
Thank you for having me.